Um, Here's the key.
Okay.
You could try this again. I think it'll work now. Good luck. Work? Yeah. You could put the key back in the lockbox then. Okay, we're gonna put all that stuff in. All this stuff in that room. Okay. Okay. Key worked. Or punch worked.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so when you start that with the generator,
Uh-huh.
it's gonna go whoom, whoom, whoom. It kind of does.
Oh yeah.
Just for some reason, the generator probably needs a tune-up or something. But you'll be able to vacuum. It's just a little weird.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try and get the remnants.
Go, brother.
Yeah, but I mean the generator's running.
Oh, hit it again.
I just did it, but it's like no power.
Oh, maybe it's choked out. I don't know. Let me try. There we go. Wonder what happened. Was it the choke on?
Yeah, but I thought maybe moving the choke would give it more power. I guess it does the opposite, it gives it less power.
Yeah. That'll do it. A little better. It's not. This little thing's working as hard as it can, but that generator just, it needs help. The generator's just,
It's doing it. You know, they can't get the big chunks, but it's getting a lot of the small stuff.
yeah, it's just that pulsating.
Yeah, it's because it's pulling more power than what that's pushing out.
Yeah.
Or it could just be because that shit was so fucking clogged up.
We're gonna see. I gotta keep getting the big chunks.
Yeah, I could probably vacuum most of that insulation shit.
Oh.
Insulation shit, man, because it was working like a champ for like 5 fucking minutes.
Pour a little vacuum. I could keep pulling that up. Last time I made this thing so fucking heavy, man.
Shit, I'll
Pull it out from here. You can scoop it up.
What are you doing?
I don't know if you need them or not, but I got the tools here.
Oscillator?
Yeah.
Where I do want to use it, because I'm fine with everything the way how low we came, aren't you? Like, because everything is below this.
Yeah.
So I'm fine with all that. What I do want to do though is those 3 wires. It's like we need to cut into this joist stud there so that they could tuck back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but
Is that a
this is like a support, yeah.
what fuck can we do? What can we do? Can we cut a notch out of the support so they could tuck into it? Or not? Because the floor is going to come up against that. Is the problem. What do you think? You could think it through. Or, well, it wouldn't make sense for us to cut, like when we put the floor down and cut the floor out for that, and then have a notch for the floor to expose those.
I mean, you could probably. Plus the build out of the wall too.
Are we thinking we're gonna build out?
Like
I know the idea was over there because he was on the exterior. So are we doing the same thing over here to build out the wall?
I mean, we could make it so that the notch, or we could. I was thinking maybe cut strips, tack them in over this. Alright, so it brings it out another 1.5 inches, 2 inches.
Yeah.
But then we'd have to do
Across the whole wall.
Yeah.
What support is it?
How far does this wire run?
It
That's my question.
It runs a ways.
A ways?
Like if Frank was to run it.
I just meant, could we disconnect it
Oh.
and put it behind and
Oh.
like if it was only like from where it is to here, right? It's like okay, I could. There's nothing hooked up, so it's just take the wires, put it back,
Drill a hole through. Drill
Yeah,
a hole
yeah,
to
yeah.
have been drilled through. We could expose it more so we could see it.
Yeah.
We could lift this.
Hang on.
Push the rake off too.
Okay. Okay, so it doesn't go far. Well, that one doesn't. It comes here. And it's wired already, so that fucking sucks.
Yeah, I see the problem of notching out that wood. Now, is that the wood that I put on there? See these things? Look how I put an additional 2 inches on all of these. That's my wood.
This here?
That's my wood.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, we could probably cut into this. It's just not, cause I'm seeing like the joists here, right?
Right.
So that to me tells me that this board is a supporting factor on the floor over here.
So, if my board doesn't matter,
Yeah, we could.
that's my board.
Okay, then yeah, we could notch it, and this way we'll notch it like a whole chunk comes out from
Yep.
here
Then
to here.
this stuff can tuck, and then
Yep.
and then this will.
I mean, it'll still
Well,
it'll
that's-
be flush against this, and then it might come right to this, but I don't think it's an issue. We could like
we
cut it.
when we notch this, can we rip that out? That's just a lap.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because that's my board.
Okay, then yeah. I was looking at this, so I thought this ran the whole way.
Yep. Cool. I'll let you do it, just so if these kind of go that way, tuck and go in.
Okay. Let's get this shit out of the way real quick.
Is that enough space for you?
Yeah.
Do you think that the oscillating fucking saw blade is shot?
Nah.
Okay.
No, I mean it probably can't cut through metal at this point,
Okay.
but nah, it can cut through wood. It's really not the blade that cuts it.
Yeah,
It's
look
actually the vibration.
Look at the yellow one.
Yeah.
That's me, all the way over here. It runs all the way against that wall.
Yeah, fuck that.
Tool.
Can I see the hammer and flat bar real quick, please? Here you go.
That should be just fine, huh? Because it'll push back now. Behind it.
Yeah, so
It'd be
now.
nice to have a tack. We don't have to, but if we had the same staples as him, we could tack it to you.
So yeah, now I think it'll sit
Yep.
so that the board will go right up on here, right over the top of it.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think that's good news. Don't hit your head.
Last thing I'm worried about.
chore, isn't it?
Yeah. Looks better now.
Yeah, I feel good about it, man.
No more fucking, what's that shit called? Plaster and,
Lapboard plaster.
yeah.
Yeah, no more lapboard plaster throughout that man's exposed studs all the way around. One for us to inlay, what's it called, insulation and put drywall. Obviously, there's a work to do with all the nails on every one of those studs.
Yeah. Yeah, man, have to clean them up. It's alright.
But I felt pretty good. So, I don't know about you. It's not quite 11:30. I'm thinking if I get home at noon and you get home at noon, and there's some downtime, change clothes, and gonna go to the shop, I can pick you up and we'll go to the shop. Does that sound right? Because, so we want to leave at 1 p.m. Right? So how much time do you? We need to leave our area at 1 p.m.
No, I could be ready tomorrow, for sure.
Okay.
I'll just go home, shower, change.
Cool. What time do you want to cut out here? It's about 11:30.
It's all up to you, bro. Really up to you.
Okay. So you don't think it necessary for us to clean every one of these things like we did the edges?
I honestly think it looks better than what it did this morning when we were first talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's.
I mean, we could, man. We could. You already got the broom, so it's like, shit, give me the dustpan. I'll sweep it real quick, and you can put it in. And we'll get it as clean as we can.
You think?
Like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm only talking like I'll go ahead of you by a minute or two, and I'll just sweep it up in the dustpan, whatever I can get, throw it in here, and then we can start laying it.
Okay. Do you want to start in this corner since it's most exposed?
Yeah.
So we'll pull that.
Because they don't need access to this wire no more, right? It's already ran.
I think we're good. I really think it's okay for us to, we could flip that wood over, or we could push that wood over, do the cleanup, probably lay in insulation, and then I want to flip the wood on the other side, so not the painted side, so painted side down.
Okay. So
Sorry, because we can still paint the top. If that makes sense.
yeah.
And then, but then the problem is our runs are gonna go.
Oh yeah, we gotta.
Yeah, how our runs gonna go? Are they gonna go just like they are, but with that stagger? So running that way, or could we run them?
To be honest with you, brother, I know the right way to do it, right? But I almost feel like since it has the tongue and groove in it, and you're not just gonna be gluing it down, right? We're gonna zip screws into it.
Yeah, maybe so. Yeah.
I think you could leave it, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do some research on it to find out what makes you feel more
About
comfortable.
offset.
Yeah, just to see if anyone's ever done it this way with the tongue and groove,
Right.
right? Where they were like they were in a position where it's already laid out, it's already almost in place. Like what's the cons of
If this was all the joint.
Yep. Like what would be the worst case scenario because of this? And I really can't think of much, man. You're not tiling over it, right? It's gonna be like carpet or.
It's gonna be a LVP
Okay.
wood.
So it's gonna get adhered to this anyways.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe do some research on it. Find out which way you feel more comfortable going with.
But when we lay it down, for whatever time we're doing this, when we lay it back down, it's fine for us to continue to lay it this way, or structure it in the way that it's going to lay.
I think I personally can't see a downside of just tucking it into the tongue, right?
Yeah.
And then running it. Because if we do it the other way, we gotta make cuts.
Right.
And this way, it kind of fucking works out where like each sheet is the full length. There's no cutting. All right, this one ended at 3 foot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
The only ones that are gonna change are the last row,
Yeah.
which is gonna be shorter than.
But if we flip these and run this way, now it's full cut. Full cut. Full cut. Right? So I guess it's not that I'm trying to be lazy or cut corners. I just feel like what's really the problem.
Right, is this, if this is butted up all the way across on a joist,
Mhm.
and it's tacked on either side, then where's there gonna be a give in this at all? There's not gonna be a give, right?
And really, we're looking at it like we have to run this way, but really, we could run this way also. 1 cut, 1 cut. Right? You see what I'm saying? So either which way you go, it's almost like the only difference is you're not getting an offset. That's the only thing that's happening. There's no offset. It'll be the back wall that gets the cuts.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll have to research, I guess we can still do the cleanup. And even if we lay in place the insulation and lay these down how we think they ought to be, which is fine, just like this, then if we determine that it needs to be shifted, then we'll get shifted. Yeah. Because we haven't tacked it down, we haven't glued it down or anything.
And like I was just saying, we could probably run so we don't have to turn these.
Oh.
Right? Like they're already in place going this way.
Right, we just have to flip it over.
Yep, we just flip it over.
Now
Right?
it's-
It'd be a first one or a full one,
No.
a full one, and then a cut.
Yep.
And then it'll be a full one, cut.
I
Right? So see, we don't have to switch direction with everything.
I see. So then every third one, there would, wait, full, oh, wait a second, so you're saying full one, cut,
Yep.
full one, cut. Now they're still falling on the halves. aren't
Yeah,
they?
yeah.
They're still falling
I
on
was
the
just
halves.
in my mind at first. I was thinking we would have to flip all these
Yeah.
to run this way,
Yeah,
but we don't have to because they're already set. Like this is the main wall.
right,
And we're gonna pull this way instead of this way to there.
okay. Yeah, because that's a perfect run. Like as much as, how much, it goes wall to wall by, are these 4s? 8 by 4s?
4 foot, yeah.
4, and there it's wall to wall. No. Is that like, is there something holding us up? Yeah, there's something holding us up. It's about fucking there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, so you would get the full length of the 4 foot all the way to here. Then it has to be trimmed. So yeah, I guess we could just do that. We just have to make more cuts. We'll need a circular saw. Well, you have one, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, so we just get the jack stands up here. Full one, measurement, cut.
full,
Yup,
full
start
one,
here.
full one, cut,
Yep.
full one, cut, full one, cut. I like that, full one, cut, full one, cut, full one, cut. I like that. I think that works. 'Cause then there's a cut on every one, so there's, yeah. I think that works.
The next step would be, you want to glue them down and screw them? You want to just screw them?
I guess at that time, that liquid nails.
You do want to do it?
Yeah, since we looked to see that we do have the liquid nails, I think that helps with like creaking and squeaking and stuff like that because I don't know if adherence or cushion, whatever that is that it gives, so that the screw itself doesn't.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So yeah, we'll just have to get the system going, man.
Yeah.
Flip them back. Right, so they're on the other side. Liquid nails. Put it in. Couple of tack screws to hold it. And so it'll hold to that groove. Move on to the next one. Next one cut. Yeah. We're ready to do it.
And it doesn't matter if we start in that corner, that corner, or that corner. It doesn't matter. It's all the same.
offset either way, right? We could say, okay, let's start over here since we already insulated it. Full one, cut. And that's our offset.
And then just for my peace of mind, we can set all of that up in that order where it'd be a full one, and this one would be like overlapped, waiting to be cut until we come back.
Yeah. Actually, we could even just put in the full ones at first. We'll come back and then do our cut pieces.
Full one.
Yep. And actually, like, if that's a full one, this next one would be a half.
Full half.
Yep.
I'm with you. And I might even take all the fucking cut pieces, throw them under there, or I might clean all that stuff up and throw them on top of there so I have space to just kind of put things, do things, stack things. You know, my cuts. Alright then. Maybe let's go another half hour or so. That way we can have some time to like, get home, take a shower.
This one's not down in the Springs, right? Or is it?
Not Parker. Not Parker. Havana turns into Hampton right there, Aurora, like that. And there's these 4 big red buildings. One of them has towers on it. It's the radio station.
Okay, is it by the old fucking airport tower? Is it out that way? You know what I'm talking about? Where they turned it into a restaurant or something?
Yeah, that's no, that's not there. That is Aurora, but this is further south. This is Hampton, right? Hampton and Havana. What else is down there?
Is it down by where we were doing that window replacement? That was Hampton.
That was Hampton.
That's actually right next to where I was doing security.
And not as far, like that's not as far east as we're gonna go today.
Yeah, I feel how this gets already.
Alright, on, man. It's good.
Yeah. Downstairs or oh, fuck. Of all the things that I fucking picked down. Oh shit.
You might need to be moved around a little when you go downstairs, but it's only like temporary.
Oh, did you bring that trash can with us?
You want the vacuum?
day comes where I have to like rip into some drywall and everything to rip all that
Yeah.
stuff in my face. It's just
I was thinking that as I was doing here, I'm like, oh, it's
Yeah.
gonna be nice to cut into that and not have all of that shit on dropping.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
No, that fucking vacuum did pretty good, man, especially for only having that little generator.
Yeah. No, you'll be good. Okay then. Do we want to lay down like some of the batting that's already in its spaces, like that it's already cut, or do we want to open up one of the big ones?
No, I would use that. That'll be like our test run.
Right. Because then we just do it right there, then we flip over the board and away we go.
I would lay all this insulation first. Yep, and then we come back and start flipping the boards.
Okay. Okay. Oh, so we could technically, it'll be a full, it'll be a full and a half, so then this one would only go to here for now, until we cut it, right? Or however it goes, we lay the fulls back down, but we know what we're doing with the cut stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, and we could take the measurements and shit once everything else is where it's gonna be.
Okay. So we can lay in insulation. Okay. I concur.
I'm gonna go turn the generator off.
Alright. I'll take a swig of fucking swamp water. I'm out of juice. Are you out of juice? Need to go grab another. Need a little? Carmichael.